the drink that I have. Hot matcha with me. What do you have this morning? Cappuccino. Yay, everyone's cheering. Okay, we'll cheer each other. Okay, as you go. Yay. This is a picture of me, by the way. Just like very quickly, I work at ISPP. I co-teach a lot. And when I'm not co-teaching, I'm usually blogging or writing books or articles. And when I'm not doing any of those, I take the best man in my life, Bo, this little dog, with me to badminton. He doesn't mind when I come home smelling with like another dog. You know, that's the kind of man that you want in your life. Can you can you type in the group chat? How do you say hello in the country where you're working in right now? I would say Swasarai in Kamai. So let's all welcome each other in the spirit of where our students are from. Can you type in the group chat? Here they come. Ni hao, hello. Konnichiwa. A lot of Chinese. 안녕하세요. Hello. I did this in a group and someone said Australian, howdy. And I was like, oh, that's cute. Manglaba from Myanmar. My kids in New Orleans would say sup. They would say sup, dog. I'm like, whoa. Good to see everybody. Namaste. Assalamu alaikum. So that's why we're here today for our students. Even though they are not here in this webinar with us, we represent our students and the passion we have for them. Let's start this session here with a little thought experiment. Find a cell phone number, find a cell phone, a number that kind of represents the closest thing to the first cell phone you've ever had. Closest thing. Can you type in the group chat? A 5. Okay. That's going back, y'all. That's going back. I see a 1. Oh, someone had one of those pull-up phones. I'm jealous. You must be rich. Let me show you mine. You ready? I got mine in, I had to look, it was 1999, the turn of the millennium when I got this phone. I thought I was cute when I got my little strap with it too. I mean, I was walking around, I was like one of the only people, I mean, I had to get it. It was so cute, right? And you know the snake game? My friends and I would just sit around, we would play snake for hours, forget homework, forget lunch. We would just that's the start of this is pre-sequel to all TikTok, right? Yes, 1998, Barry, I'm impressed. Okay. Now my phone is this. I have an iPhone 15. My student's like, oh, that's all you have? And I'm like, sorry, I'm not a billionaire like you. So besides your phone, calling and texting, what else can you do in your phone? For example, I can do banking on my phone in the US and in Kamai, and also I use Grab to get me here and there, everywhere. What do you use your phone for? Wordle. Oh, hey, to hang out with friends. Order groceries. Yay. Everything. Watch adorable animal videos. Yes, this is what happens for hours, right? Translanguaging in Korean. Yes. What don't I use? Yes. Cat videos. Order dog food. Photos. Yes. Listen to music. Learning my languages. Hi, Alyssa. Reminders. Yes. I read on my phone. So I'll listen to podcasts as I walk. I meditate with my phone. So check my emails at inappropriate times. Yes, absolutely. So why would you trade your current smartphones for the original one you've had? Yes or no? N or yes? Snake, less fragile. Sorry, why would you? Yes. No. I wouldn't trade my phone as well because it's old technology. And the things we have now with our new phone, we could do so much more. And that is one of the analogies for translanguaging. Our old phone is like the English spoken here signs. Raise your hand if you ever seen one of these before. Yep. And isn't this ironic that that sign is grammatically incorrect? Like English spoken here, you're missing the word is. Hello. If you're gonna say English spoken here, you might as well have it grammatically correct, right? And now the new technology is this, it's translanguaging. This is an actual example from an 8th grade student who is fluent in Mandarin. He actually lives in Taipei. He's from Taipei, Chinese Taipei, and he's learning, he has the word because, I didn't teach him this. But he knew that in his language, because starts a sentence, can start a sentence, and then the comma so in the middle. I was blown away that he understood this. And then he wrote in Chinese, in Mandarin. There are times when he wanted to write in English, and he did. And he's given an example here. Like, look at how intelligent the student is. Because we can see translanguaging, because even though he's a beginner, you could see his intelligence. You could see his capability. You can see he can processing. This is why we say the old technology of English spoken here signs is no longer in use, and we want to use something that's more applicable, which is now like more diverse and more multifaceted, like our phones, which is translanguaging. So let me give you a story about this. When I didn't do this model, when I worked at the fabulous international school in Vientiane in Laos, my favorite school. It's my heart school. We all have our heart schools, right? That's mine. This is a girl named Inu, and she just came to us in 7th grade and like in April. So what am I going to do with you for the last 3 months? So I took her out, and I subscribed to that model before I learned better. And I was like, English, no, you can't learn social studies. Let me pull you out of social studies and let me teach you how to read. So we spent time, I took her out of her class and we read this. Frog lives in a tank. A boy feeds him a frog. A boy feeds him frog food. I love frog food, says frog. Right? And then I would stick her back into class and go into another class. And she would be so confused on what she's doing, right? Instead, this is the model I should have done. I should have showed her, we were doing immigration at that time, or she was doing immigration with this social studies teacher. I could have done this. We could have talked about finding a text that's more accessible, such as this fabulous, one of the best books I've ever read on a graphic novel. It's fantastic. It's about immigration, sorry, and also like refugee status. Then we could have done this. We were talking about rural migration. I could have made it relevant to her. This is by AI, by the way. This is Perplexity. I asked, like, tell me about rural urban migration, and it provided resources. And then this is what I did. I said, can you please provide it in Mandarin? And now it's showing up here. She gets the concept of rural urban migration, but she's doing it with her best language. And this is why do we want this? Because we want students not just to get content and yes, to pass the IB and to do well in school, but really we want them to be like this, the people in this video. This is from a talk show in the morning in Manila, and look at how they're all professionals, highly educated, and look at how they're translanguaging.
How should you really address it kapag merong depressed, lalo na siguro sa kabataan?
Oo, number one talaga ako, ina-advise ko talaga ang family to be constant. Oo, constant in their love, support talaga. Kasi this is a true medical problem. Yes.
Pwede kang makawala. Ibig sabihin, after a certain period of time, pwede kang bumalik sa dati mong
sa previous
level
of functioning. Kasi ang depression, anxiety, they are highly treatable.
Oh.
You see this as a highly educated doctor speaking in Tagalog and then also in English and moving in between. They're all using the languages that they feel best fit that context. And this is what we want our students to do. Our schools the word has international. It doesn't say, for example, the English School of Phnom Penh. It says International School of Phnom Penh, or the Vientiane International School, Saigon South International School. Right? Our schools have the word international, but why do our kids end up only English only? Right? That's a question. So this is my model that I recommend we use. We'll still want students to learn English, and that'll be we'll go through that. Input, processing, and output. This is the model. We teach in English if we only know English. If we know other languages, we teach that language. But students can have input in English plus Khmer. I'll show you an example of that. When they're processing the English text, they can outline or in English, but also process in Khmer with their friends. When the output, they can do the same thing. Their output is going to be in Khmer, but they're going to use texts and quotes and videos in Khmer to help them in their report. So English is the foundation, is the thread through which, but the way to get to the output, there are multiple entry points where students can use their language. At the beginning, at the input, during the lesson, and at the end. Let me show you examples of that in a second. But translanguaging, what is translanguaging? Very quickly, it's using all of our linguistic resources to communicate. This is a fabulous book by one of the leaders of translanguaging, Dr. Ophelia Garcia. Let me turn you back in time when I started my Master's of Education at the American School of Education. And I pushed back on my teacher, my professor, and I wish I had that email. Like I sent, like, why I disagree with all this research about having students use their first languages when they learn English. Well, and I gave her an analogy. I said, well, if it's like a bike, we want students to practice riding a bike, just like we want our students to practice using English. Why is that? She said, listen, here's the research. If you want students to learn English, then you must have them use as much as possible. That was my thinking. But she said, no. The new theory is this. The new concept is this. Jim Cummings is one of them. Language one has all the linguistic skills that can be transferred to language two. And that's why language one boosts language two. And then she threw this back at me. She said, okay, you started learning to ride a bike on concrete. However, the skills that you developed learning how to ride on concrete, this is Auburn Park in New Orleans, fabulous place, by the way. You can ride in a muddy path, up a hill. You can ride on a grassy path, up a mountain. Can you type in the group chat, because I noticed we haven't been talking to each other in a while, type in the group chat, what skills can you take that you learned from riding on concrete that can be applied to a dirt path or a mud path? Can you type in the group chat? What skills? Balance. Hello, Emily. Yes. You need balance in all of them. Pedaling forward. Yes, I see lots of balancing. Thank you, Denisha. Using brakes. Kind of important. Yes. How to brake. Going momentum. Focus. Yes. You see, this is the same thing. The skills that you learned when you were learning on concrete can be then applied to mountain paths and mud, just like this. The languages that they know, the skills that they know there can be applied to your new languages. Wearing a helmet, stamina, steering, yes. Let's give an example. Are you ready? So I know 6 languages. I know them all poorly, don't worry. These are some of the languages that I know. I'm still learning English. What do these languages have in common with español? Mira, aquí. Tenemos una casa, and the casa is red. So in English, we would say the red house. Pero en español, decimos house red. But in Khmer, Lao, Thai, in Vietnamese, and in Spanish, we say house red. For those who speak Korean, Japanese, or Chinese, is that the same thing? Can you type in the group chat? Do you put the adjective after the noun? Just wanted to know. But this is why like in English, yes. When Japanese is the same thing, yes, see? Look, I didn't know that. The Korean does the same thing. So now when I work with a Korean student and the Korean student writes the house red, I say, oh, is that how you write it in Korean? Yes, fantastic. In English, just remember to put the adjective, the color, before the noun. And so that's why. So when a student, for example, when I started learning Lao, the noun is first and then the adjective, because that was easy for me because it's the same thing in Vietnamese. And then when I learned it in Thai, in Khmer, it's the same structure. And I was like, wow, it's because I also learned it in Spanish. La Casa Roja. You like that little twirl? Yes. Here's another example. Ready? Can you tell me what sentence structure you think this is? I'll read it in Lao for you. Khoi mak toma le to kadai. Can you tell me what sentence structure you think this is? Type in the group chat. What do you think the sentence structure is? You don't have to know what it means. It's a list, Bia. Yes. How did you know it's a list? How did you know, Lao? I'm surprised. Type in the group chat. You see a series of commas. Do you see this? You don't know Lao, but the fact that you use your English and whatever other languages you have, oh, it's probably a list because I see all those commas. That's translanguaging here. We can tell students, oh, when we write in English, like this sentence, I like, let me move this. I like dogs, horses, and rabbits. When we write in English, we have commas. Do you do that too in Lao, in Thai, in whatever languages? Students then take their languages and say, oh yeah, we do, or no, we don't. So the students can compare. Ah, I see an aha, I love that. Here's the similarity as well. Do you see the thing, do? It's a prefix, just like in English, we have prefixes. But now it's a marker for animals. And we have a list for commas. This is fantastic. This is what we do with languaging. This is an actual screenshot of me translanguaging my students. So I'm working with my students in grade 9, and this is about the social media unit. And I want to teach them a complex sentence structure of if. But we start with this. Can you tell me a sentence that starts with if in your language? So students know the word if in Korean and Khmer, and they start telling me their sentences. They first turn to their partners and they're saying if sentences. And then now that they have that, what we do is now we write about if sentences with social media. If you get addicted to social media, you cannot focus on studying. If there's a lot of fake news, then one person can be cyberbullied, which doesn't actually make sense. If social media makes people lower self-esteem, it can worsen mental health, right? But students get this because the concept of the if starting a sentence exists in their language. Okay? And that's why we do this. We translanguage to show students that yes, it's possible. When they know a concept in one language, it can be applied often to another. Let me show you the research before we show you the application. This is Dr. Wayne Thomas, who's a statistician. He only cares about numbers and data. He happens to be married to Dr. Virginia Collier, one of the most exceptional, most inspirational teachers of bilingual education. Because he's a statistician, he's like, you have lots of data. Can I just look at your data? And she's like, sure. I happen to have every single student's data in North Carolina for 5 years. That's 1.5 million students. He said, oh, that's a lot. Let me see that. And this is what he found. He found that there are different models of education for English. There's a pull-out instruction all the way to dual language, where it's bilingual education, where students are learning everything in 2 languages, in English and then in Mandarin, or in English and then in Khmer, right? This is what he found. He found that if we just pull kids out and don't use their use their languages, they actually don't progress. For example, a kid who's just pulled out and just taught English actually goes from 1st grade to 21 to 24th percentile. And then he looked at the data, he said, oh my goodness, when students start using their languages intentionally and teachers make a space for that, a student who's in 1st grade at the 21st percentile then jumps to 61. That's incredible. Can you type in the group chat, why do you think that is? Why do you think that when we have programs or instructional practices that integrate students' languages, that students make such high academic achievement? And this is not Spanish tests. This is the state standardized test for North Carolina. There's not a single word in Spanish in this test, but students achieve so much. Can you type in the group chat? Why do you think that is? Identity, yes. Hi, Kasuma, they're learning. Oh, it's going so fast. Yes, they're learning the same content. L1 boosts L2. Yes, admin. Yes, exactly. G, they're tapping into what they already know. As they're using more tools, they're learning it. Yes, Yuma, there's full comprehension. There's minimal misunderstandings. There's more respect, inclusion, supporting cognitive ability. Yes, Barry. Kids see a cognition between home and new languages. And then when they see that connection, that's the bridge to acquiring a new language. That's fantastic. Transferring skills to new context. Yes, thank you, Paul. Right? So we don't have in international schools, we often don't have bilingual education, and that's because the way we're structured. We have to take students from everywhere, and we want to take students from everywhere. In International School Phnom Penh, a fabulous school. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about how lucky I am to be here. There are 84 languages represented in my school, and 34 of them are represented by the teaching staff. We don't have dual language programs because we can't. But what we can do is trans language in every single classroom, where every single student, regardless of their language, can use it in science, in math, in design, in PE, everywhere, from K to 12. Right? So I've given you a lot to think about so far with the research, the background, the context. What are your thoughts right now about translanguaging that I just shared? Let's take a little pause and type in the group chat. What are your thoughts right now before we go into application? 25. Okay, Barry said, makes complete sense. Carrie, one question I have is for students who do not read in the L1, we'll get there. Oh my goodness. Carrie, that's the part of the session we'll talk about. Yes. Admin, where are you? What's your name, admin? Hi. I want to know how I could do better. I'm sure you're already doing amazing, so don't worry. We'll add more things. Okay. Hi, Marla. Good to see you. Okay, here's an example. This is actually from my brother. We change language. Let's see if you can understand this. My mom, so he texted me when I was in the gym and he said, next Monday, nhớ mua some veggie dishes của mom. What do you think that means? Can you type in the group chat? What do you think that means? Let's see if you can change language and use all of your resources to figure out what this means. Type in the group chat. Let's have some veggie dishes from mom next Monday. Can you bring some veggie dishes? Thanks, mom. Okay, let's have some. You got it. Okay. So this is what she said. Ready? So nhớ mua means remember to buy some dishes to cúng mom, which means to offer at the altar because mom died recently, right? At this time, right? This is the 100th day of her death. And he's like, listen, brother, you better remember to buy some veggie dishes to offer to mom's altar. This is what we do naturally. But as schools, we need to support that, where we no longer limit students to using one language. Okay. So this is what I used to say when I was in New Orleans, like, porque yo hablo español. And I would say to my students, entiendo que hay traffic, but on the causeway. Pero es importante que you still come on time, mi hijo. Right? So that's what I would tell my students, and they would say, okay, señor. And like this is naturally what happens with our students. So here's the application. For the rest of the session, as I give you scenarios, you're going to think about your lesson that you want to teach next week. Can you type in the group chat, what is a lesson you want to teach next week? And then we'll apply translanguaging to that. Can you just type in the group chat? Oh, thank you for your love, everybody. Coding, okay, via fractions, Krista. American Revolution, yes. International Women's Day, hey, Rebecca. Poetry, Chinese, okay, it's going really fast. New market failure, coordinate plane, fashion, research, PYP exhibition, my favorite. Elements of celebration. I'm in grade 2. I want to see it throughout the day. I will give you elementary school experiences too. Showing emotions, stories, morality. See? I will show you how translanguaging can be applied to every single and any context. Let's get started with beginners. This is from the International School of the Hague, a fabulous school. Can you tell that I only love schools that I go to? Like, if you hire me, I will only say good things about your school. So I'm not looking, don't worry. I just want to show you your school. This is a kid in Chinese. He's a beginner in the grade 1 class. The context was you have to write a story about at a time you went with your family to do something. And you have to draw a picture and then you have to write about it. Students are sharing. These are all like multilingual students. And he's now sharing. Let's watch. As when the video ends, I want you to tell me what you notice from the video for the student, right? Let's watch. If you can't hear the sound in a second, please let me know.
Yeah.
先追人，先追人。
Oh!
diving.
Diving with people today, it said before. Yeah. And
鲨鱼，鲨鱼，
so he's diving with people today. He's diving with people today. There's a shark.
Look how engaged he is. Look how collaborative they are with Google Translate.
海马，
Hippocampus.
A hippocampus. Water something. Okay.
海马，
Saying the same.
Hippocampus.
钓到了一条鱼。
Did you notice he changed the way he said it? Because the teacher is like, I don't get this. Say this again. And he notices that as a first grader, you don't understand what I'm saying. Hold on. Let me just change the way I say it so that you understand it. How intelligent he is as a first grader.
Yeah, I think it's broken. Hang on, I'll try again.
钓到了一条鱼。
Catch a fish.
Ah, okay. So, in Howran's story, he's going.
Wait, I'm not done.
接到插破冰，接到插破冰。
Oh,
And look at the magic when it finally clicks for both of them.
right. Okay.
Inserted into the ice.
So, guys, this is Zihan's story. Okay, so the knife cuts through the ice.
Look at his face looking at his classmates.
Cut a hole in the ice with a knife and put a line down, and it catches a shark, and they're diving with the sharks in the story. Oh, that's awesome. I see exactly what happens in the
And look at his classmates listening to his story told in English. Type in the group chat. What do you notice? What are the things you're taking away from this? For those in China, please join the Alchemist. Yes, I'll be there. Hello, I'm so excited. And also Ceci Gomez, fabulous, from Saigon International School. He's proud. Everyone is engaged. I'm tearing up. This is so great. Yes. Hi, Janja. Pride that he's not in the back of the room with the TA doing coloring colors of rainbows. That he's engaged. He's doing the exact same thing as everyone else. And he's showing pride that he is capable, right? Thanks to all the technology, absolutely. I feel he's more comfortable, and because he's more comfortable, he'll want to learn more, right? And that's what we want. They both did not give up. Can you talk about perseverance? They're modeling DEIJ right here, inclusion right here through translanguaging, right? It's the easiest way to apply the principles of inclusion through translanguaging. This is fabulous. By the way, yes, you can have the video link. Let me just give you, let me give you all the link right now. You can actually have this. When you share this with your colleagues, please don't use my students' photos. I'm allowed to share them, but the colleagues aren't allowed to. But these photos are fine because I have permission to share. So anything of these are fine, right? Okay. So let me show you another example. This is the same kid, same class in math class. This is a much shorter example. Watch. Because someone asked, how do I trans languages? I'm in grade 2. How do I trans language throughout the day? This is an example. Same class, he's now moving to the math part.
You ready for the next one? Okay. Can you draw a shape that has straight edges and 3 corners?
Oh, I know that.
Can you draw a shape that has 3 corners?
I know that. 你能画一个有3个角的形状吗？ Like this.
Playing how to say it in Mandarin. The student hears it, says it in English first, adds it in Chinese. The student gets it. He gets it before his other colleagues, other classmates.
He said 4 corners. He said 4 triangles.
Now he's so involved. He's not sitting in the back corner doing something else. He's doing the exact same thing through change languaging.
And freeze, hold it up for me. Show me your shape that has 3 edges. Super duper work.
Let's go here. This is from Thailand when I collaborated with a school, Magic Years International School, a lovely itty bitty school. Everyone knows everybody. They even have goats there. It's so cute. So this is what you do in the morning. The teacher actually, she's Thai, and she writes, like she's the head teacher, and she writes in Thai for her kids. So she would get today, good morning, grade 2. Today is Friday. What a week it has been. Our first week celebration is at 2 p.m. We will host ผู้จัดการ So she's writing the word host because the kids don't know what the word host is, but she's saying ผู้จัดการ and the kids know what ผู้จัดการ means, right? The grade 2. Here's what she did, and I saw this in another class. When she's teaching the word she's saying what words you know in your language that starts with M. So I'll go with like madre. Can you type in the group chat? What words do you know that starts with M in another language? Can you type in the group chat? Maman, maman, yes. Mama, mahuba, yes. Manzana, yes. Mariposa, a butterfly. Oh, muy, yes, 1. Cell, okay. Momo, horse. Look at this. So now students from all these languages, this is the example of translanguaging. The sound exists in your languages too. It exists in English. We're going to learn that today. That's it. See, so easy. Here's how she did it as well. She's doing scheduling here, snacks, reading. She's doing it in Thai. So students have the goal is not to say, we want you to understand our structure for the day. It's, we want you to be bilingual as well. So she's home, ban, school, โรงเรียน, right? It's lovely. Here's an example here. Good morning, grade 2. Today is try a new strategy. Let's find out our total age. And age is a new. So she's adding that word there. And he's doing math here. Fantastic. Here, this particular student didn't know English words, but they knew Thai. And so the student labeled parts of it because it's the PYP systems unit. And so students are writing in Thai the different systems, the different parts of the bike. And then the student who knows English is now working together to write that in English. Wheel, basket. So they're translanguaging together in small groups here. She has her fabulous TA Thai with her. And so she's also Thai. And so they're adding words like herbivore, carnivore, omnivore in Thai, so students know as well. But they're producing their language in English with Thai as well. This is how you do it throughout. Let me show you a beginner. This is Ayaka from Japan. Fabulous. She's graduated from the International School of Vientiane International School. And I'm in her science class. I'm co-teaching with her teacher. You can hear him in the background. And this is it's the first day of the labs. And so he wants students to know what are things you should not do in a lab and what you should. And this is what I'm doing here. Okay. And I don't know Japanese, but this is how I change language. Right? When you 10, 1, 2. With her eyes, she's understanding me. 10 things you see not safe. Do you understand? Well, she's looking at the picture. I'll show you in a minute. Okay, let me write it down. Right? 10. No. 10 things you see
That's not safe.
Gets it? And then we work, and let me show you what it looks like.
It's okay.
Come on. This is the lab thing. So she wrote, I said, I was pulling up my phone to Google Translate for her. And then she said, I don't know what lab safety is. She went, I said, I typed it and she added the word, but you know the word lab safety, right? And then she started writing these things I said, can you tell me first, what are these things that you shouldn't be doing in Japanese? She wrote it in Japanese. And then I said, can you tell me which ones we should do and should not do? You can write the words no or yes. So she's learning the word no and yes that day, right? And then this is what she did. And at the end, the teacher said, find the thing is the most important rule and create a poster about it. And this is what she created. You could tell she's intelligent. We were speechless. We were like, what? Ayaka produced that? It was the best one produced in the entire class. Because we translanguaged the instructions, she got celebrated. She was part of the class. She's part of the class, and that it's safe. She can feel safe in that class and do the lab safety wise, but she also feels like now she's welcome. And her classmates see her at a more elevated level. Even though she only knows the word yes and no at that time, she understands the concept, and students now see her in a different way because the instructions were delivered in English and also in Japanese with the aid of Japanese. Let me show you an example. So now we go to another class. She's in grade 6, right? So we go to design. The design class was she had to drop and design something that protects an egg dropped at the 3rd floor of the building without breaking. And this is the document. And I didn't have time to co-plan with my teacher, but I used translanguaging to do this. I said, find one example of an egg drop design you like. And we Google translated some of those words. She used the word going further, existing. Somehow she knows the word product and inquiry, right? So now it says name of the product. I told her, only translate words you do not know. And she knows, because she's now telling me words she does know. Name of, she understands that, product. Then she wrote it here in English. Who made it, right? Site. She doesn't know the word site in English, but she knows it in Japanese. I was so surprised she knows what it was, the source. Here it is. And so I'm going to just go to show you more examples of, as we were working on this throughout the day, you could tell, like, okay, list 3 key features of the existing product. A parachute. Tell me why you want this. And she said, slowly as the tallying to fluffy to reduce the impact. She knows the structure of to reduce the impact of. And I know that she's going to need the word impact. And I jumped on that right away. I said, oh, this is an important word. Can you write this in Japanese? Because she said she knows the word impact because she produced this. The fact that she was able to produce this shows she understands the function of a parachute, and she's doing it in English, but she's doing it first in Japanese. This is how we translanguage all day in every class in design. Let me show you the science class. This is a different science class, a grade 8 student. And in the background, students are doing a lab. But before we get to the lab, I wanted to teach my student how to do balance and unbalance, because those are the 2 key words he needs to know. And this is what co-planning looks like. Co-teaching. I have the word balance and unbalance on Google Translate on my laptop in front of me. I'm pointing to the word balance and unbalance in Chinese Mandarin.
Unbalanced. Balance? Unbalanced.
Checking for his understanding.
Balance?
As some people tell you, it does.
Unbalanced.
It does hurt though.
Balance?
Gets it? 30 seconds. Now we're off to the lab report. We're down actually doing the lab now. This is why translanguaging is DEI in action. Because now he is not sitting at the table by himself working. He's now doing the exact same thing as everyone else. We're fulfilling the promise of the parents who send out kids to us through translanguaging, that they get the same education, right? So we go now to an 8th grade class, same 8th grade class. his job is the teacher said, okay, Zhang Hong, like everyone else, we're learning about the Mekong because we were in Vietnam, Laos at the time. We're learning about how the Mekong is being dammed in Laos and the economic and the cultural and the environmental impact that it has. Their report was to say, now you have to see if, go find other rivers around the world to see if it's the same thing that's happening. And he has to write in a report, an essay. All students have to write in an essay. We co-planned and we thought, okay, you know what, Zhang Hong, you don't have to, let me give you the instructions in Chinese. And I want you to find a river in China that you know a lot about. And he said, oh, I'm familiar with the Yangtze River. Perfect. We're going to have to research how the Chinese government have dammed the Yangtze River and how that has impacted the people who live there in the environment. We then searched it in Mandarin and we watched videos in Mandarin. It's the same task that everyone is doing. It's just in a different language. And then this is what he produced. I was shocked. We co-taught together, we co-planned. He said, you know what, he doesn't need an essay because he's at the sentence and he's at the word and sentence level of his English acquisition. Why don't we just have him write what he knows from Chinese, Mandarin into English and make a video? And this is what he produced.
Hello, my name is Chen Zhenghong. Today, I would like to brief you on the ecological impact of dam. Dam of the dam. For the dam, for beautiful city. After the dam, where the water is ice, the land is air. Water and the moment present.
But do you know this word? Like he said the word arid, the land is arid. The simple fact that he showed that, like I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it, that he knows the word, a complex word, the word arid, but he used it in English. This is fantastic, right?
Air, water, and the moment presence riding.
Of course, the dam has good sides. So he's now seeing perspectives. That's one of the strands in INS, in individuals in societies. Students have to see multiple perspectives. He's meeting the standards just through Mandarin. Somebody, Hokulu asked a wonderful question. How prepared are you to co-plan? Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I go straight into a lesson, like the lab safety one, and I didn't have time to co-plan this, but I use translanguaging in the moment, right away. Right? That's another session that I should probably share with Ericos in the future, because I know there's lots of questions about code teaching. That's another thing. Okay, so.
Hello.
Okay, let me give you a model of what this feels like for you. Ready? I'm going to play a video. I'm going to mute the sound. Right? I'm going to mute the sound intentionally. This is about, actually, I'm not going to tell you anything about it. I'm going to mute the sound. But I'm going to turn on the Chinese subtitles. So it's playing right now. Okay, I want you in the turn, talk to your partners and tell me what this video is about. Can't quite do that, right? I'm going to play the same video again. Now I'm going to change it to, I'm going to keep it in English, but you're not going to hear the sound. Okay. So this is what I did for a Chinese student. I was playing it in English for everybody in my school. I worked at a Thai school at this time. He's a beginner, and this is what I did. I played it in English for everybody, but I turned the Chinese subtitles on so that he can actually follow along.
Climate change. And here is how it works. Bangkok is a flat city, so we harness the power of gravity by inclining the whole park to collect every drop of rain. The gravity force pull down the runoff from the highest point.
So that's all I did, because I don't have time to teach him individually, because I'm a social studies teacher at that time. And so I had to make sure everybody got this content. He got this in Chinese because he needs it the most. When it was time for him to write, he wrote in Chinese using screenshots from the video. He wrote it in Chinese, and then I said, fantastic. When you're ready, can you Google Translate it for me and show me in English? And this is what he wrote. For the flood in Bangkok, he's starting with a subordinated conjunction. Isn't that fabulous? We can first use resources to turn rainwater into nourishing land. The fact that he understands that is just amazing. Kochakon Verakom is an expert on Bangkok. She believes that Bangkok can be recycled to prevent disasters, such as turning the roof into a farm. She believes that Bangkok can be saved because of people's effort. Her park can transform rainwater, and people can exercise to clean the lake. He gets this, but he had to do it in English and with Mandarin. Isn't this fabulous? Okay, let me show you another kid. This is during COVID times. Oh, yay. So students had to write, but the kid didn't know. So this is for the beginners, and kids who can't type in their first language, they can speak it into their first language and then have it produced for them in English. Let's watch. So he's trying to type about that park we just saw, Drainage Park, because he goes to Google Translate, says it in Mandarin, it spits it out in English. He takes it, copies it, and puts it into English here. And this is what the younger kids can do. If your kid can't type in their language, they can speak it, they can hear it. Right? This is what you would do with beginners. Okay, what happens when there are multiple languages in the class? I focus on the kid that needs that the most. So for this example, I was teaching about land subsidence, and all students had to learn about it. But for the kid who needs it the most, I Google translated the words. I translanguaged the words he needed, specifically the content-specific words in Mandarin for him. I didn't have time to check it. I just said, hopefully this works. Here you go. Right? And he's able to do the work. That's how I do it. So this is what I would do with my students. So if we're watching a video and they can't read in Mandarin, this is what I would do. I would say, on your marks, ready, set, play. And then the kid who can read Thai has her laptop, has subtitles in Thai. The kid who reads Spanish has the subtitles in Spanish on their own laptop. The kid who speaks Arabic does the same thing, and the kid who has Mandarin does the same thing. So on their laptop, if they can read in their native language, in their first language, not native, if they learn in their first language, they can read it as they're listening to what's happening on the video that I'm playing. So, okay, so what if my students can only speak and listen to the heritage language? I would play the translation using the audio function of Google Translate. So here's actually an example. That video we just watched, this is what I would do if I'm co-planning. If I'm going to a social studies class, I never had time to plan, this is what I would do. I would go to AI, Poe, fantastic. I would say, please summarize this video. It summarizes it for me. Then I would go and say, okay, let me put it into Spanish for this kid, right? And if it doesn't work, if the kid can't read Spanish, I would then play it for the student. So let me watch. This is what I literally would do. So I saved this. Right? I would take this and I would go to Google Translate. This is happening real time. This is fun. Okay, come on. Okay, so I would paste this. Let's say that I have a Ukrainian student, and we would go like this.
Корнворакхом, ландшафтний архітектор, який спроєктував.
So the kid can either, if the kid can't read in Ukrainian, the kid can listen to Ukrainian. If the kid can listen to Ukrainian, I just give them the text, or her the text, right? That's how I would do it. All right. We have 7 minutes left. Okay. So let me close this part out. Okay. So let's pause here. What is one idea that you're getting from the lesson that you want to teach about fractions, about market failure, about whatever? How can you teach this with translanguaging with one of your students? What can you do? Write a shopping. Yes, adding pictures. Paul, I'm so impressed. By the way, I love the conversation that's happening inside the chat. I'm just really impressed. Role of technology. I never thought of having students play videos with subtitles. Yes, Christy, so great. Vicky Kai, yes. Using home language to label the different parts of the diagram, yes. Yami, more expressive using body language. Don't be afraid to use text. Translate the words. Yes, I'm gonna try Poe, it's fabulous. Denisha, have students watch a video on American Revolution and add the subtitles. Yes. Translating key concepts of the content. Yes. Google Translate with GChat, with ChatGPT. Yes. AI tool helps so much. Right. Claudia, find news articles about the economic concepts from their classroom, like prices or floors, and then report the situation from home so the research can be done in their own language. This is exactly what we're talking about. You are absolutely getting this. Fabulous. Okay. I have like 6 minutes left to show you what I would do with intermediate students. Okay. So here's what I would do. The students now have some spoken English and still have very fluent in their language. This is what I would do. So this is here an example. My task was for students to, in science class, their task for science class with their teacher was to find out how waves are used now in daily life. So the students are put into groups because they're presenting. And guess what? I had Zheng Hong is doing in Chinese, Mandarin. And I forgot his name. Jamin is doing in Korean, but they're collaborating in English. So watch. By the way, I love the conversations that's happening with everybody in the group chat. It's fabulous.
Is on the car, right? This is like that. Car sensor is on the car, and that there is like leather, and
He's trying to summarize. He's like going to Google Translate now and putting in Korean so he knows how to say it. He has the word here.
Detection.
Oh, detection. He knows the word detection in Korean. Zheng Hong goes, I don't know that word. Can you please change it for me into Chinese, Mandarin? Wow.
Detection.
I also know the word detection. I never taught him the word detection, neither of them, but they start using it.
Detection. Yeah, detection. The other car will like other surrounding. Yeah, like around, and if car in and stop. Okay. Yeah.
I promise you this was not staged.
This is car, and this is the self-driving car, and this is car, and going that and stop. Sensor because the car is the car there. Yeah, car, because if you go to straight and crash, and the sensor, the detection, the
Him using that word again.
car, and he stopped.
Oh, you mean it's just like the car sensor system can detection the
other car.
He used the word detection. He just learned it like 20 seconds ago.
The other car in the surrounding.
Yeah, the other
Is it
car
correct?
So yeah, you describe self-driving cars. Now, how does it connect to waves?
Waves.
Waves. Oh my god.
Oh, just like they use the waves to find other car.
Yeah.
Or other something
Something like
in front of them.
And this is why we trans language with intermediate students. They research in their heritage languages. They collaborate in English so they can produce something for their science teacher in English, who's assessing them in English. This is what you do, right? This is how we trans language all around, right? Here's another example. You teach students to do this at the intermediate level. This is a 10th grader, and she doesn't know words specifically in this document. And I'm not going to go translate every single word for her. I don't got time for that, because I have 14 other classes I have to work with. But I've taught them to advocate for themselves. When they don't know a word, they must Google Translate it and put it into the text so that they can remember it. That's the important part. So she doesn't know the word resilience. She doesn't know the word non-renewable, but she added it. She doesn't know the word detrimental, but she knows it in Khmer. And this is what it looks like at the intermediate, more advanced level, right? Again, the students are at the intermediate level. They're mixing their languages together. There's no confusion there, but they're just adding words that they do know. The words they don't know, like the words they just learned in closed field system, should be written in English. But the concepts around it should be written in their heritage language. So they understand what the word enclosed field system is and an open field system, but the Mandarin helps them understand that. Let's move on. So this is an example. Here, when I'm working with my students, they're reading text, they are annotating in their heritage languages. She's at an intermediate level, and I asked her, please Google Translate for me because I don't know what your the Koreans are. And this is what she wrote. So this is this year in October, on the 17th of October. She was reading this text about social media. She annotated the text to show me she understood, but then she writes it in Korean, in English for me so I can see. But she's translanguaging the language that she feels most confident. I don't care what you annotate, in the language that you annotate, as long as you're annotating. That's it. So I won't show you this because I just have to keep on going. But I do want to show you this is one of the most powerful things that you could do with your intermediate students. Have them interview people in their heritage language. Because I know people are doing PYP exhibitions. I know students are doing grade 2. I know that there are kids that are doing business. You can go into the community, have students interview people in their heritage language. You get a firsthand experience, and then have it then translated for students, or students translate it or with support. This is an example. My 10th graders interviewed one of our business administrators, the head of finances at ISPP, who speaks fluent English, but when she came to our class, she just felt more comfortable in Khmer. Do you see the culture that we created? Speak any language you want. So she's talking about her experience during the Khmer Rouge. 3 students conducted the interview in Khmer for her. Then they also translated the responses for her. This is such a powerful, easy way to have intermediate students integrate themselves within the class and also learn the content through interviews. Fantastic. Can you type in the group chat? What are some things you could have your students interview or in the community? Who can they talk to at school? Who can they talk to outside the community about a topic using their language? Who could they Zoom with if no one speaks that language in the community? Family members, everyone. Interview Chinese and Japanese teachers, interview their family members, absolutely. Store business owners, yes. People who run things, yes. School community, see? I love it when they interview their families and report back. And this is how the family feels, that they don't have to. This is the worst part about sometimes about international schools. The parents reinforce English only. Kids come home and the parents speak English to their kids. But you know what they really should be doing? Using their whatever, like my Khmer parents should be speaking Khmer and reading Khmer and writing Khmer to my Khmer students. So those literacy skills can be applied to English, but also the content that they're sharing with their kids. Okay. Oh, okay. We are at the end of our session, and I just want to do 5 minutes of Q&A because I know it's a Saturday and I am impressed. And also my mocha cappuccino is running out, so I gotta get some new ones. So I want to show you, I want to end with this. The same destination, translanguaging is the same destination with dramatically different experiences. So the only time I ever flew business class is when I used all my billion points with Qatar Airways. It was amazing. They walked me in. They knew me by name. They walked me to my booth and they closed the door and they said, what would you like? I said, well, what can I have in the menu? Oh, they said, oh, everything. And so for the next 16 hours, I proceeded to be fat and drunk, but it was fabulous. And then let me tell you, they took me here. They said, oh, Mr. Tan, would you like to go take a shower now? When you come back, we'll make your bed for you. Oh, here's also your lounge clothes that you could keep. This is why it's $8,000. Anyways, on the same flight, people were in premium economy. They don't have the quiet. They don't have the little booth. They don't have like when they serve you, they actually have cotton, like starch cotton cloths. Beautiful. But they don't have that. They have like a little bed with no dividers. And some people were in the cattle class. Usually I'm there. Don't worry. Stuck between like 50,000 people. But the thing is, everybody on that plane was going to the same destination. We were all arriving in Philadelphia, but our experience is drastically different. Here's the connection to translanguaging. Our students have to learn fractions, market failure, American Revolution. But what they have, the experience that they have can be drastically different. They don't have to feel like they're lost if we translanguage with them. And that's the main concept, that we get them to the same point, but the way to get there, they can use any language at any point in time, at the direct instruction, when they process, and when they output. Okay. What is your greatest takeaway from this session? Can you type in the group chat? Can you type in the group chat? What is your greatest takeaway? Okay, before you do that. Okay. Use more tech in classes. I feel validated. Yes, Bia, you absolutely are. Our teaching can make our students' learning experiences either economy class or business class. Yes. Thank you. I cannot wait to share this. Yes, I took so many away. This is why we do this. Not just that students can be successful in class, but of this reason. Let me show you this. Try not to cry.
You're mad at Waverly?
How could I be mad at someone with all that style? It's just a shame that I wasn't born that way.
So it's me you're mad at?
No. I'm just sorry that you got stuck with such a loser. That I've always been so disappointing.
What do you mean disappoint? Piano?
Everything. My grades, my job, not getting married. Everything you expected of me.
Not expect anything. Never expect. Only hope. Only hoping best for you. It's not wrong to hope.
No? Well, it hurts. Because every time you hoped for something I couldn't deliver, it hurt. It hurt me, Mommy. And no matter what you hope for, I'll never be more than what I am. And you never see that. What I really am.
June, since your baby time, I wear this next to my heart. Now you wear next to yours. It will help you know. I see you. I see you. That bad crab. Only you try to take it. Everybody else want best quality. You're thinking different. Waverly took best quality crab. You took worst. Because you have best quality heart.
We leave nothing else, then I want you to leave with this. When we create a space where students change language, we can see them for who they really are, not just their limited English. We see them for their full potential. Okay. I want to thank you for spending this morning with me. Oh my goodness, who spends a Saturday with another educator? You do, you care about your kids so much. Would you please click on this thing, this Google survey. It's anonymous, so you can say whatever you like. I know people are crying, right? It's so sad. Yes, I know. What we do is not just get kids to learn. What we do is to say, I see you, you belong up. Right? That's why we do this. So for these, you can leave, but not a problem. If you want to email me directly and I can answer questions, this is my personal email. And you can ask me questions if you have to go, because it's a Saturday. For those who want to stay and just talk for about 10 minutes, I can add 2 or 3 questions, and then we'll go. I want to say thank you for being the kind of teacher that shows up on a Saturday for students like me, so that you can let them know that they belong in their school, in your school, and they're not stupid. They're more than able. They're more than capable. Right? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tan. Thank you.